So now we're going to be looking at horizontal stretches and compressions. So we talked about before how A and D deal with vertical stretches and D deals with vertical translations. C deals with horizontal, left and right translations. And K here is going to deal with horizontal compressions and stretches. Okay? Now this is a little counterintuitive to what A is. So if you've already seen A, we know that when A is greater than 1, it stretches it. When it's less than 1 and greater than 0, it compresses. And when it's negative, it flips it on the x-axis. K is going to be a little different. What we're going to do to figure out K is we're going to follow this rule here. We take each of our K values and divide our x coordinates by them. So we'll take our 5 major points again, which are 0, 0, 90 and 1, 180 and 0, 270 and negative 1, and 360 and 0. Okay? But in this case, what we do is we take our K value, which is 4 here, and we divide the x value by 4. With the A value we multiplied, here we divide. So when I divide 0 by 4, what do we get? 0 and 0. So again, this coordinate hasn't changed. Next, we divide 90 by 4. Okay? So maybe we'll take a calculator out. 90 divided by 4, 22.5. Okay? And I'm going to help you out here. Really what we've done is we've cut this into a quarter. Okay? So this would be halfway. So halfway between that will be a quarter. So 22 is going to be somewhere around there. Okay? So we're at 22, and sorry, it's not 0. The y-coordinate is still 1. The y-coordinates do not change. So 1 is roughly here. Okay? Then we're going to take 180 and divide it by 4. Anyone know what that's going to be? 45. That's right, it is 45. So 45 and 0. So this 180 now goes to 45, which is here on a graph. Okay? 270 divided by 4. It is 67.5. That's right. So we're going to be at 67.5 and negative 1, which will be roughly here. And finally, 360 divided by 4 is 90. 90 and 0. So, if you notice, the period of this wave has been compressed quite a bit. Remember, the old period was how long? 360. This period has been compressed by a factor of 4. So essentially, in that same span of 360, we're going to have this repeat its cycle 4 times. Okay, so if I continue the pattern, here's the second part to it. Our third part. And then our fourth part. So this period has been compressed by a factor of 4. And that's what K will do. It will compress or stretch horizontally our wave. Now, very important, that is when K was greater than 4, it compressed it, which is kind of the opposite idea of A. Okay? So I'm going to jump to a new page so we don't get confused with this stuff. Here's another graph. This time we're going to use a value of K when K is less than 1 but greater than 0. Okay? So let's say we'll do y is equal to sine, and our K value is actually going to be a half. Okay? We're going to imply that same rule where we take our x and divide it by our K. Okay? We know that y would be multiplied by A. So we'll take I'm just going to take the first 3 important ones and then try to continue our pattern from there. 180 and 0. Okay. We have to divide our x values by our k. Well, our k is a half, so we're dividing by a fraction, which can get really confusing. That's right. The fastest way to do this would be to invert it, and that's what we're going to be doing here. So, when we have to take our x divided by k, an equivalent thing to do if we have a fraction, okay, so this would be x divided by a half, is the same as writing x multiplied by 2. Okay, these two things are equal. So this is a fast way to go about doing it. So instead, of dividing by half, we'll say or, multiply by 2. So 2 times 0 will still be 0. 90 times 2 will be 180 and 1. And 180 times 2 will be 360 and 0. So, if you notice this, we're at 0, 0, 180 and 1, 360 and 0. This horizontally have been stretched from where it originally was. Okay? So, we've now horizontally stretched our graph when our k value is less than 1. Okay? And the last one we're going to talk about is when k is a negative value. Okay? So let's say k was equal to a negative value. And specifically, let's do negative 1. Y equals sine. And in this case, our k value will be negative 1. We still use the exact same idea. We take our 5 major points. Okay, and we divide these values by negative 1. Okay, this will still be 0. What's 90 divided by negative 1? Negative 90. 180 divided by negative 1 will be... Okay, so all this is doing is it's the same as flipping the graph on the y-axis. Before we flipped it on the x-axis, this gives us the same idea as flipping this graph on the y-axis, which is here. So all of our points go to the other side. So we had negative 90 and 1, negative 180 and 0, negative 270 and negative 1. Okay? So this has changed the graph from where it was. So it almost starts to look like a DNA chain here. Okay? So there's everything we did. When k is negative, when it's less than 1, and when it's greater than 1, how it compresses it.